Okay, so let's continue our nice little adventure through the space of Warhammer.
Quiet. They're trying to tell me something.
It is as if the painting was rendered by several different hands. The timid and certain lines are interlaced with rough and furious strokes coming together in arcane shapes. While no one appears to be living in the cage, somebody still filled the rough with dried fruit and fresh water.
The light of terror shines for us.
Luxurious feast was left untouched. Lady Navigator's private library is brimming with essays, novels, and personal accounts for the trailblazers and explorers of the Imperium. It's about time we repaid those who betray our house. Come. Rogue trader, you treacherous worm, I knew I should have killed you. That is enough, boy. You betrayed a child, our house, and Tisfion herself. Surrender. I'm a savior of the house, and I'm prepared to pay the ultimate price. Kill him.
Don't you dare to cross us!
For the Emperor! I'll do it. Faith without deeds is worthless. Doubt is for the weak. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act. Faith without deeds is worthless. Doubt is for the weak. I'll do it. Eradicated.
It will be done. I will do my duty. It will be done. At your beck and call.
Duty prevails. My prescience has failed me. But of course, not the scryer's job. On it.
As the Emperor commands, I act. I refuse. I'll do it. In thy light I stand, and thy light I crave. Faith without deeds is worthless. I'll do it. None can escape the Emperor's judgment.
Indeed. I took care of this one.
High momentum.
Will do. Anything else? Was that you? Or...
As duty demands.
Now, this is your burden, child. Survive. Return to the fold of your house as your destiny demands.
No! Don't leave me alone in this violet-brown haze! Wake up! Your mistress is giving you an order! Do you hear me?
He was a fine seer of the war. He fought for his mistress until the end.
Yeah, no. Enough's enough. I've had my fill of waterworks, thank you.
Forgive the agency, but we should leave the station immediately. The systems are unstable and may fail at any moment.
But this is my home. What are you going to do to me?
Lady Cassia, I, Netis von Valencius, rogue trader of the Imperium of Man, offer you my protection and grant you shelter aboard my vessel.
I beg your pardon, but what about my servants? Your Act 5 is still full of people loyal to House Orselio.
I will provide you with everything is necessary. Naturally, this includes servants. The Lady Navigator ponders your words for a short while.
As a Lady Navigator of House Orselio, I accept your gracious offer of protection. Please, take me to your vessel. I can no longer bear the pain of this place.
Onward.
Your seneschal is always there for you. Let's patch you up.
Thank you.
Leggy Captain, Lady Navigator, welcome aboard. The Sanctum Navis has been prepared for the communication ritual, but if the Lady Navigator wishes to rest in their quarters first. Your heart starts beating furiously, your breaths come short and choppy, and your fingertips tingle unpleasantly. You notice that Vigdis is shivering slightly, and the crew are glancing around in puzzlement, searching for the source of the sudden wave of unease. Without even looking at the Voxmaster, Cassia waves her away. First, I wish to speak with the rock trader. Leave us. Of course, when you are ready for the ritual, please let me know. Cassia sweeps her pensive gaze over Vigdis, then lowering her lashes slightly, turns to you. Well, what did you wish to speak about? After a few seconds hesitation, Cassia lets out a small exhale, and then raises her pointed chin. I have not yet thanked you for saving me on the station. My thoughts were clouded with so much more foulage when Theobald had stopped, but you acted honorably and did not exploit me in a wretched position, and for that I am immeasurably grateful. But now, Cassia throws back her shoulders, I am ready to go to the Sanctum Navis and perform the sacred rite. I require brushes, canvas, and the best paint you have on board, but no red. Why are you asking for those items? There's no time to indulge in painting. You are asking questions the answer to which you cannot comprehend. Perhaps I may explain it all to you at a later time, but now our time is too precious to waste. As a navigator of House Orcelia, I gave you my word that without canvas and paints we have little hope of smooth journey through the warp. I have no reason to lie. So tell me, well, why no red? It is my habit to use the blood of my attendants so as to preserve my own. However, given the current circumstances, my own will serve the better. The blood of the Navis Nobile is sacred and so is more suitable for the communion ritual. Tell me about the rituals, what the ritual entails. I doubt the uninitiated could understand the mystery of navigation, but I should try to explain the essence of it. I must merge my mind and will with the machine spirit of the ship, so that I become one with the vessel. Cassia lifts a lock of her hair from the back of her neck, revealing gilded implant ports. After that, I use the House Orcelia ritual, which I loathe to reveal to you, to free my mind of all errant thoughts, and then is the time to open my third eye and peer into the depths of the warp itself. Among the nightmarish vision, mirages, and creatures of the abyss, only the light of the Emperor is the truth that will lead me from star to star, from system to system. Oh, the light, the guiding thread so fine it can slip from one gasped at any moment. Cassie unfurls her hand and thought dropping something. But you have nothing to worry about. Navigators of Half of Cilio never lose their course. I shall ensure that I'm not going to waste my time satisfying these whims. Perform the ritual immediately. I am obliged to refuse your request. If you wish to doom every soul on the ship, this is your prerogative as the captain of the vessel. But you will send me to the Rykard miners before you do so. The last navigator made do without these tricks, and you will as well. They are not tricks, but a sacred ritual. I refuse to perform it without the appropriate preparation. Ugh. Okay, whatever. Cassia nods in thanks. I shall take my leave of you and for the duration of the rite. I ask that you do not follow me. If you can survive the gaze of the warp eye when it is open. Well, Captain, I will oversee the open channel between the Lady Navigator and the bridge, and may the Emperor Light help us all. The Vox caster in the Sanctum Navis picks up the resurrection of clothes, peace chanting, and the metallic clinking of implants. Then the serene voice of the Lady Navigator breaks the silence, initiating communion ritual. You hear the exhaled ring of metal freed from the scabbard, then the stiff grasp of the Lady Navigator, the rhythmic drip of liquid on canvas, and the faint whisper of a brush. I see violet vortex lashing an ocean with a million flails, an amber shadow spinning over the surface in a fiery dance, a storm rising above foaming waters, armadas droning in fog. The path from one end to the other cannot be seen. And there, beyond the walls of glass, a daughter forsaken by her father yearns for her brother, and the sun's pale disk goes in tireless pursuit of her. No, of me. Its frozen rays lies that spring is here. The light is dead-ended. The great ruler is gone. The Vox Master recoils at Cassie's words and accidentally snaps one of the Cogitator's levers. The panel beneath her fingers emits spark and the Vox caster falls silent. She quickly flips a series of switches and bows guiltily. My abject apologies for cutting off the broadcast, Lord Captain. I have never heard the warp speaking through the navigator before. The connection is restored now. It will not happen again. Foxmaster, see that you receive 5 lashes for this show of clumsiness. What is happening to Cassia? Soul-shredding screams drown out the Vox transmission. The servants in the sanctum navis are howling and shrieking like wild beasts moaning in pain. Their throats roar from the strain. And then sudden silence. The dull thought of dropping bodies proclaims their fate. It appears the servants were part of the Lady Navigator's rite. As it was for her predecessor, I will arrange for the bodies to be removed from the Sanctum Navis after the ritual, or what is left of them. Rogue Trader, I fear I have unfortunate news. Endless blackness has spread across the canvas, diving what should be a hole in two. And my sight cannot glimpse the light of the Emperor as clearly as before. I cannot turn around my brush, only draw me onward. The way is blocked. You hear a heavy exhale, rustic fabric and metallic clicking. By the Emperor's grace, the ritual was successful. Your vessel's temperament presented a challenge. Its cold steel grip didn't not allow me to breathe freely even for a second. It was obvious the depths of the ship housed not only a machine spirit, but something other. Now I will retreat to my chamber to recover my strength. Send for me if you have need of me. Lord Captain, congratulations on acquiring a navigator. Spare me a few moments of your time, please. There are several matters that require your attention. First of all, I want to report on condition of the station URAC 5. Had you opted to be in your visit the Rykat system with a different destination, the station could have become critically unstable. Fortunately, the decision to immediately visit the representative of Novice Nobile brought us precious time. We can either send our forces to disassemble the station and produce technological components for our own vessel, or attempt to save as many valuables as we can. Loot everything from jewelry to the very last manuscript. As you command, Lord Captain. With your permission, I would also like to remind you that we are still looking for the engine Seer Prime. Both the vessel and its machine spirits are in desperate need of oversight by our experienced tech priest. We are also missing some crew. Much more importantly, we have not yet located Henix van Kalox, the right hand of the Lord Inquisitor. Now, we know for sure that he was not at URAC 5, so keep this in mind when making any future plans. Thank you, Vigis. This will be all for now. As it pleases you, Lord Captain. Lord Captain, there is some commotion on the officer's decks. The Lady Navigator has left the quarters and is currently in the wardroom, where uninitiated crew members are shunning her in terror. Perhaps you should find out what has brought Cassia to the deck.
Lord Captain, my apologies. I did not notice your entrance.
See you found it reading.
Oh, this. I found this fascinating read on one of the shelves. And I must say, it has caught my eye. Its every chapter is written in verse. I find it so beautiful and enrapturing. Urak 5 had a vast archive of its own, of course. Although most of the works within had to do with scholarly disciplines of some sort or another. Only in my sparse moments of respite was I allowed to escape into the pages of more embellished works.
Are you satisfied with your new attendance?
Your servants are somewhat sluggish when it comes to attending a noblewoman of the Navis nobility, but they are quite tolerable. Thank you for your concern.
Cassia cringes ever so slightly, adjusts the adornments of her forehead, and awkwardly hides her clawed fingers in the folds of her clothes. The unnatural appearance of navigators often becomes the topic of gossip among lowly servants and officers alike. It is clear that she does not feel comfortable aboard a ship teeming with new people. I hope that you had ample time to calm yourself and your powers.
There are people on this ship who are far more impulsive and dangerous to others, and far less devoted to the God Emperor than a herald of the Navis nobility. But I did not need your words to see the shades of umber unease that whirl around your subjects whenever I am near. Were I not acquainted with such a reaction, I could have found their behavior and your question just now insulting.
Well, are you well after these events?
One should not underestimate the navigators of House Orselio, Lord Captain. Like a shawl of pale smoke, a faint malaise hangs upon my shoulders, but it will not be the slightest hindrance to my duty to humanity, and my duty to you. Lord Captain, would you kindly explain to me why you are pestering me with these questions? Inquiring about my mood and my needs, showing an interest in the books I am enjoying. You are behaving as if you possessed a shred of fellow feeling for one such as I. I beg your pardon, Lord Captain. That was no way for a navigator to conduct herself.
It is indeed difficult for me to feel empathy for a mutant. However, crew's well-being hinges on that of its navigator.
Please forgive me. I cannot even understand myself right now. Your words and attention have reminded me of life on the station, of Theobald and Felek. I do not understand. They were merely the keepers of Urak 5. So, why do memories of those two make me feel a strange heaviness here? At the same time, I find myself overwhelmed with new excitement and anticipation. At last, I have set foot outside my familiar walls, and into a world that I have only seen before in the pages of books. Your ship alone is a treasure trove of remarkable artifacts and curiosities. And just imagine the things that await beyond, but... my delight must seem childish to you, surely. In your heart, you must be finding all this quite amusing.
What I find childish is your manner of addressing me as if I were friends, and your mistaken belief that anyone here would be interested in hearing about your emotional turmoil.
I was merely trying to show proper decorum and make conversation. But you are right in saying that the word friend cannot possibly apply here. In any case, this conversation is beginning to drag on. I must excuse myself. There are matters that require my attention in the Sanctum Navis.
Mutants.
Lord Captain? Lord Captain.
Abelard West Terrain. Seneschal Abelard West Terrain is one of the closest associates of the Lady Theodora. Okay, let's have a look. Let's go to prison. Oh no, yeah, I'm going to go here first. Look, Captain, sorry to disturb you. Vigdis poses as if listening to something. It's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding the audits with you in person. I think I hear Master Wersane's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. Let's have a look what they want now. Those fuckers just coming down and, you know, asking stuff. Rude. They should all hang! The everyday sounds of the bridge are disturbed by voices raised in anger. Abelard's voice, the loudest of all. This is not the conduct of an officer. They are the antics of a highborn brat out on lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. The young woman standing before Abelard strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eyes and say, "I apologize, sir, but I must speak to the Lord Captain." "Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not least because I see you have already been fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence towards the high-ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay." "Lord Captain, Lieutenant Avril Avent, requesting permission to speak." Vent falls silent and then odds rashly. "On a matter of extreme importance and urgency." "I will not tolerate this kind of conduct on my ship. Abelard assigned the Lieutenant an appropriate punishment. Lieutenant, you have 1 minute to state your business." "Yes, Lord Captain. Listen to my report and punish me as you wish. But all that matters is that you hear me out," says Vent, a pleading note entering her voice. "This matter cannot wait. Any minute now an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary. But I am convinced that this step is unwarranted, and that the crisis itself was provoked by the action of one of the senior officers." Vent is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard, in a hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. "Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Wesrain and to intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have mutiny or a massacre on our hands." Vent reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She had clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she is finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then at you. "Where is he comes into this?" "I shall explain," Abelard intones grimly. "I beg you to hurry, the time is running out." "I will not hurry. Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak as long as I see fit. There is an established order to the way things are done on a ship, and one of the pillars of the system is that the rogue trader attention is not directed by trivial matters. It is Seneschal's role to ensure that. I have always handled internal problems myself, so, of course, when I received information about cultists hiding on the lower deck, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valencius will find refuge on the ship." "You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Wesrain. Arrests, interrogations, mass punishment for entire sectors. It has driven the people to the brink," Vent says bitterly. "Now there is a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4 to be precise. 3 workers' clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could be degenerate into all-out insurrection. But when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with a maximum force." Abelard, what do you have to say about this? "I see no need to add anything. I acted with the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protective and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my action for yourself, I have no objections." "For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go down to the lower decks, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You will see that they are not lying or harboring heretics. That way, you can stop the uprising before it begins." Depot 4 was there. Depot 4 is one of the poorest sectors of the lower decks. It is a home to clans of General general laborers. They are not as valuable as the ship as the families who have served its specialized system for generation. They are an easy replaceable resource, and one which is now more better, best, more, and one which is now more besides, giving succor to cultism minions of the arch enemy. Depot 4 is poor and troubled, but at worst that means drunken fights and legal rotgut brewing. We have handled the workers of Depot 4 in the past. We would have done so again if the crackdown of Depot 4 hadn't been so harsh. And another important point to bear in mind, the problem is not limited to the sector. It is located on one of the most populated lower decks, and everything that happens there has a knock-on effect on the neighboring sectors. How did it start? The situation could boil over at any minute, so I gave you the condensed version. It all began with the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who's been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but this search has brought tension between enforcers and workers to a heart. So there is insurrection about my ship, and no one told me. I would not deem it a problem worthy of the rock trader attention. The lower decks, as it happens, are in revolt. 30-some years ago, we even had the revolutionary leader rise up, who dared to establish workers' rule across the entire ship. It took a month to restore order, but even 8 years later, we were still battling rumors that the hero had survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Abelard scoffs. Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with. But on this ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure that if the rock trader addresses the malcontested directly, he will quell the unrest. I dread to think that problem you will disturb the rock trader with next. Perhaps you will ask the Lord Captain to break up brawls in the mess room. I have already given you the means to resolve this problem, you simply need to use them. If I may, your lordship, sending a hit squad to crush the rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. I am certain the senator was acting with his authority, but I will verify the soundness of this decision for myself. Throne preserve you, Lord Captain, and thank you for your support. Abelard grits his teeth slightly. An enterprise bordering on a sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Hey, it's Westerling, take this, come. Abelard reflectively wiped the sweat from his brow in a strangely human gesture and a telling one. At a moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor-like veneer of self-assurance. The lower deck are a couple of endless problems. Sometimes a daily regret that we cannot replace all the lockers will serve us. They were shouting your name. Of course they were. The organization of the daily routine life of the ship rests upon my shoulders. The mountain of challenges and problems from which I endeavor to insult you, Lord Captain. The situation on the lower deck has been a cause for concern, and I have intervened personally on one or more occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them, you are akin to a creature of legend, one who has stood on the steps of the Golden Throne, no less, whereas I am the man whose name is attached to every order docking rations or lowering base heating. And they dare to disrespect the senior officer? They would not have the chance to express such disrespect if you were not here, and if the situation had been dealt with by the relevant officers, Abelard grimaces. It's a junior officer west for failing to pass problem up to the chain command. I have never been able to abide it. I shall say it again, it was a mistake to come here on Lieutenant Venn's whim, Lord Commander. I must admit that the lieutenant is by no means the worst material for an officer, Abelard adds peevishly. By the name of Terra, the girl is the same age as my eldest great-granddaughter, and she has the gall to tell me how to manage the lower decks and hand down cultists. It will be another 20 years at least before she can be trusted to act without oversight. Well, let's keep moving. Let's get to the bottom of this. Something resembling a nest made of the thermal insulation materials. This must have been the workers sleep between shifts.
Carry the Emperor's will as your torch. Do you see that?
The cranium can be seen beyond the passive bars. Perhaps examining the pipe will allow you to reach it.
Let's proceed.
This master-crafted patella augment is not fit for a servitor.
Inside the box, a string of scratch letters runs along the edge. Different first names, but the same surname. It looks like the box has been passed down the family from generations to generations.
The light of terror shines for us.
The sounds of heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bay. Lieutenant Avrila Vent of the ship enforcement is barring the path of a heavily built assault unit officer, and judging by the expression and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached boiling point. I have my orders to put an end to the unrest and purge this sector. You can't take out orders to show. You can take your orders and shove them. This is my deck and my sector. There are only 3 people who can waltz in here without my express permission. The first officer, the rock trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears, Abelard's mutter in grubby approval. He does not clarify whether this means Lieutenant Vent, the officer looming over her, or both. Your Lordship, noticing you, the 2 junior officers snap to attention and salute the subordinates following suit a moment later. Yeah, what's the situation? Your Lordship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikes are induced to their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as our resources allow. We encountered some locals on our way here. The conduct was outrageous. They tried to throw some things at us. Vent paled slightly. The people are getting desperate clearly. They saw the assault unit and they decided they had nothing left to lose. I mean, I apologize, Lord Captain. It's outrageous. I'm sure the people simply didn't recognize you. It wouldn't have occurred otherwise. We will deal with them once the current situation is resolved. Is that all you have to say? Are you sure you're worthy of an officer rank, Lieutenant Vent? Vent pales slightly, but straightens up and clips out. Forgive me, Lord Captain. I will take the steps to ensure such things does not happen again. Yeah, strike. I'll give the assault unit permission to open the fire. We will crush the seeds of insurrection with full force. Abelard frowns and pitches his voice low so these words do not reach the genius officer. And it was worth leaving the bridge for this? He could have issued the order from there. The unit commander gives the signal and is the first to raise his weapons. Yes, sir. Lieutenant Vent turns deathly pale. Her eyes are wide with fear, but her lips are clamped into a firm line. If you want to mow down everyone in Depot 4, you'll have to start with me. Vent, stop. This is treason. Sorry, I've let everybody down. It's not clear who her words refer to, Abelard, her comrades, or striking workers who are now doomed to die. Vent reaches forward and grabs the barrel of the soldier's weapon.
Run, fools, or fall!
heretics! Me? Another foe painted black. I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Doubt is for the weak. As the Emperor commands, strike is a prey. None can escape the Emperor's judgment. Rejoice in battle! This is unacceptable. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act.
High momentum.
There is movement in the Empyrean. On it, that way.
At your beck and call. I'd rather not.
Will do. What an unfortunate turn of fate. Why did I not foresee this? no more.
Nothing escapes my sight.
The gauge shows that the steam pressure is in this pipe is close to the maximum. However, it does not reach the bars at the other end.
Onward.
So shall it be.
Whatever you wish.
Stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses your other companion, saying, "I have an urgent matter to discuss with you, Lord Captain. Please give us a moment." Abelard looks at you and his vast vestige of retain and vanish. "Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You made a harsh but necessary decision, but before that you decided to tune off a panicking junior officer. You put your life at unnecessary risk in the midst of potential uprising, and your action triggered everything that follows. If you hadn't given Lieutenant Venn false hope and then snatched her away again, she would have snapped. You had no business going anywhere near the lower decks. Is that how you see the future at the helm of the Von Valentius Protectorate?" Do not speak to your Lord Captain in that tone. I'm obliged to speak thus. Who else can point out your errors and offer you counsel? Let's talk about your role in this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. I would have handled the situation myself had not decided to intervene, Abelard says irascibly. Remember, Lord Captain Theodora? Do you think she ever set one slipped foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers, while what she decided herself to her grand design for her protectorate, as any true strategist and rogue trader would. Okay, I would be only too willing to trust in my seneschal and not fill my head with such matters, but the situation had spiraled out of control, Abelard. Abelard's face relaxes slightly. You are right. At last, as concerns junior officer making complaints directly to you. And Abelard stands straight at attention. I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. Abelard speaks slowly, the word not coming easily to him. The prosperity of Devon Valencia's protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds, they create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything I know, everything my family had known. I came from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods of distant frontiers on scouting voyages, and the advancements of an entire protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like flimsy hangar on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all, the rogue trader was killed, and who knows what happened on the planet. I'll tell you that this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I'm duty bound to aid the New Rock trader, to aid you to find your footing as quickly as possible, and to do that I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed access to requirements. I value that what they are created and I trust that the situation is an aberration in the ship otherwise smooth operations. Since the established procedure were working, I see no reason to change them. Abelard dips his head in a sign of assets. The shadow of incredible strain which evidently had been wearing on him some time finally lifts from his face. I am glad you see the value in the foundation laid down by illustrious predecessors. Why fix what isn't broken? As for me, I shall endeavour not to cause you any further consternation, Lord Captain. And now please let us leave this lower deck. If the rock trader desires to stretch his leg, there are far more suitable places. The Vox crackles to life and Master Helmsman Raver addresses you. What you have here, Lord Captain, is not very noticeable, but there is a void ship sitting in a local asteroid field. It's sure it's quiet, like it's huddled up there on purpose. It's not like I'm surprised, the thing is more scrap heap, that ship at this point. Somebody sure went to town on it. We are registering critical damage to the hull and the pressurized several compartments. Oh, there is an incoming transmission now too. Hear us, the Vox transmission hisses and absolutely cuts to static. Do not request assistance. Pete, do not require assistance. Copy, the Vox relays a different voice. Keep following, they will pass by, won't they? Arrow, protects. Lord Captain, I'm told our Augurus cannot determine the alliance of the vessel. To be brief, there is an unidentified and badly damaged vessel with an asteroid field near the Ricatfilia colony that is refusing help, which, not to put too fine a point on it, has not yet been offered to them. Raver, can we establish communication unless the vessel identify itself? Yes, Lord Captain. The connection is established. Unknown vessels, are you receiving us? Identify yourself. I repeat, identify yourself. For a brief moment, the Vox only hisses and snaps, and then several voices at once start shouting over the another. Do not tell him. We are done for. This is Thunderfang. We are, one of the voices flutters uncertainly and is repeated by another. A merchant vessel. Do you copy? We are private chant vessel. A merchant vessel? Of course they are. Damn my stupid head. Where did I hear this name before? Thunderfang. Damage report on this unknown vessel. Telemetry show multiple hull breaches, most likely caused by the guns of a combat ship. Several compartments are leaking air. The bridge has been almost completely obliterated. 2 of the engines are critically damaged. Somebody gave them a thrashing so solid they barely managed to limp away. Thunderfang, why can we not identify you? You can make our horns and furies whispering even over the crackling of the static. Why? I don't know. What is? Certainly not. The whispering dies and a clear, youthful voice cuts through the static. Our vessel is badly damaged. A mage is preventing the correct identification. We assure you, merciful vessel, Thunderfall does not require aid. What happened to you? The Vox respond by bursting into a cacophony of sounds, words, and emotions. Someone chuckles bitterly, another swears with some foul expletiveness, and yet another hisses furiously, demanding that the other shuts up. You manage to make out little from the noise. We were just flying, minding our own business, straight out of the blue and open fire. Miracle we could get away. Emperor protects, and then more fire. Who? Void only knows. Roasted our tails, bombed everything. The folks, our folks, are left without any help. We never got to them. Stop playing games. Explain again what your business is here, and this time I hardly recommend the truth. Happy now? What have you done, idiot? It is too late now. The Vox channel is again filled with angry whispers of several voices. The whispers and static are drowned out by clean and slightly frightened voice. Do you copy? Do you copy? We are from the Fellow of the Void. We did not come here to loot on a different business, to help our own out of jail. Do not hurt. We already had our currents cleaned. How about striking a deal? Our hold is full of plunder, I mean goods. In case you are unaware, Lord Captain, the Fellowship of the Void is the disorderly assembly of several dozen pirate function in the Canorus Expanse. They consider themselves above regular heretics solely because they sometimes have vox conversation with those who they are about to board. Were it up to me, I would make them eat a salvo from the macro cannons to shake the scum loose from the decks. They certainly deserve it. The honeyed voice of the High Factotum interrupts the translation with a polite cough. I would wait on destroying the vessel if I were you. Although the moral aspects of their livelihood do cause some awkward question, the Fellowship of the Void remains a major supplier of goods to the local market. Perhaps you will find dealing with them acceptable, especially in situations where performing a warp jump is impossible. Fair for commercial exchange.
something ominous lurks ahead.
Blessed be the road
Over
that
there.
we take.
Come in, escort. This Captain Vakari. Escort, please, come in. The pale young woman looks at you with a mixture of hope and disbelief swirling in her eyes. You notice her hands trembling as she clutches her weapon. Who are you? Did you come from the planet? Are you reinforcements? Saint Steve, I thought you would never come. Abelard, teach the riffraff the proper way of addressing her sovereign. Abelard glares at the woman, his brow furrows. Officer, the person before you is Nethys von Valencius, a rock trader. Although you are, from what I gather, a subject of another dynasty, you would do well to introduce yourself with proper decorum. At once, sir, the woman stands at attention. Captain Raquel Vakhari, servant of House Winterscale, and the pilot of the shuttle. It is an honor to be greeting his lordship von Valencius. Tell me about this planetoid. The only settlement of Reichitfilia is a penal colony. The prisoners work in the mines and the domed quarries. They mine sulfur, ceram dust, and sand, which is then melted down. A rather nondescript place, or so it was prior to current events. What happened here then? There's been a prison riot on the planetoid. Sadly, it's being led by the prison warden himself, the Honorable Anatagan Casteglia. He has allied himself with the rabble that he himself was supposed to watch, and declared Riccardi Filia to be independent of the authority of the system lawful governor. I came here to a shuttle pilot alongside the Honorable Evain Winterscale, son of Caligos Winterscale, rock trader, vanquisher of Xenas, forever triumphant over the enemies of humanity. She details, enunciating every word of her overlord's title. Young Lord Winterscale wished to speak to the warden personally so he could put an end to this lawless treason. He and his escort went ahead, and she glows paler. I haven't been able to contact them over Vox for a very long time now. Yvain, Abelard mutters, stroking his beard. One of his distant younger offspring, yes. That's as much as I know about him, which means he hasn't distinguished himself in any meaningful way. Yvain Winterscale has made several diplomatic visits to Europe 5 on behalf of his father, rock trader Caligos Winterscale. The Great Regent would not have granted entry to someone dishonorable, which means whatever happens in this terrible malodorous place, we must aid this man of noble blood. And the warden himself is rioting. Yes, she bites her lips. No one expected this. Master Casteglia is a nobleman from a respected governor house and a and a vassal of House Winterscale, and all of a sudden he proclaimed that Ricardiphilia was now his personal domain, that the prisoners were his subject, and that he would never bow to anyone again. It's pure heresy. And I take it they're looking forward to a diet of sand and gravel. What kind of a madman would start a revolt on a barren rock? Why would young Winterscale have felt the need to parley with the distance? She sighs quietly. It's a personal matter. Master Castegia, the seditious warden, is Lord Evernay's childhood friend. When my lord heard of the riot, the news saddened him greatly, and so he rushed here without delay, in hopes of bringing his old friend to his senses, no doubt. The first Winterscale in the memory who prefers to talk first rather than shoot and slash. She smiles faintly. Young Lord Winterscale is not his father's shadow. If he is determined to save his friend, he won't back down. I pray to the throne that he is alive and well. He's been gone for such a long time, and I really don't like this place. Cassia frowns in confusion. Theobald executed his wife and only son on the mere suspicion of treason against House Orselio. So why did the noble Evelyn rush to save someone who had betrayed his house? Do bonds of friendship gives one the right to make inexcusable mistakes? Well, I am looking for a man by the name of Heinrichs van Kalox. Is he here, perhaps? Unless it's one of the prisoners or guards, then it seems unlikely. There are no shuttles in working orders than yours and mine. There is nothing else anyone could have used to reach this place. Is there anything else I should be apprised of before I set out? Some of the rebels have hold in the barracks. I don't know how many, but given this is the only way through where the negotiations are taking place, I would expect heavy resistance. Please take caution, your lordship. Lord Winterscale guards mind the entrance so that the rebels couldn't get to the shuttle. The woman freezes for a moment before asking hesitantly, Your lordship, if I may have a minute of your time, I would ever have dared to trouble you with a personal matter, but the situation... In any case, have you been to the capital of Rykard Minoris yet? I wanted to ask if you saw Amanda, a communications officer by the name of Jasper. Remain disdainfully silent. I am a rock trader, not a messenger boy. I have more pressing matters at hand than indulging your junior officer curiosity. The woman looks at you for a while longer, her eyes laden with hope and sighs. She bows. You can tell by the desperation in her eyes that she is exhausted, frightened, and wishes to be off the planet as soon as possible.
I better myself through my service.
The guard's post has been vacant for a long time. There is a layer of dust on the surface.
If such is the Emperor's will.
Hey, your virtuousness. How are you doing?
I was born to wage war against darkness. I am always doing wonderfully when danger is near.
The remains of metal, one far too lavish for even a hive world, let alone a prison colony. Of meal. A long string of names extend between the headings, the top quarry workers of the cycle.
Sins hidden in the heart turn all to decay. Duty prevails. The Emperor favors me today.
Scraps of typical prison food, repulsive to the senses. Prison Diary of Atishan Part 1. Groxit, why me? Why? I missed my Talta payment 12 years ago. 12 years, the Inspector Writ got lost somewhere in the bowels of this planetary administratum and was lying there this whole time, but they made sure to remember to tack on the finest every month. By the time they found the blasted paper and finally informed me, the total sum was so obscene it would take 3 generations of my descendants if I had any to pay it off. My fate was sealed, trial, sentence, prison, all because of some draft rotter who shoved my paper in the wrong box. To be fair, I think I got off pretty easy. My bed is in the barracks, is about as hard as that slab of rock kit I've got at home. Working the quarry isn't much tougher than my old job, and the rules Wojtek me, the old sword that governs Record Morris is bloody sadist by comparison. It's a strange old place. I haven't been beaten once yet. The guards bark orders all the time, but they never hit us. They also got this kind of inner circle of special chosen prisoners, the optimatum they call it. If you can get in Emperor as my witness, you can get an actual day off. They let you out of your cell and into the yard by the big barracks. And I tell you what, they let you rest there and feed you better than whatever swill they are giving us in the canteen. They told me it's to improve our motivation and all that, to foster a stronger desire to reform and become a worthy servant of the Imperium once more. But I know it's what it is for. It's just a club for the Warden's favorite. The same story as everywhere else. Suck up to the people in power and get some swanky perks. They said the whole thing was a Warden idea. Funny man, our Warden. He looks more noble than nobility itself. Tall, groomed, teeth even, eyes burning, boots so polished so you can see yourself when you move to lick him. But that's not doesn't much want people licking his boots. He walks around looking like he's deep in thought, alright, with only a couple of guards at his side, and he sometimes, if you can believe it, talks to prisoners. What's your name? He's asking them, all quiet like. Why you were condemned? Do you feel remorse? He never even yells at one, never orders to have them flogged. Instead, he doles reward out to the special ones, keeps telling us things like how we should strive to make society believe us in us again. Whatever you say, Master Warden, starting tomorrow I'll be trying to join these optimates of yours. I'm stuck in here till the day I die, and that means no return to society for me. But with the Emperor's help, I just might join the ranks of the elite, social elite.
Let's proceed.
Your doom has been foretold.
The Emperor is with us!